The book I chose to read is Hatchet. This is an adventurous fiction story written by Gary Paulsen. Gary Paulsen has written over 200 other books and lots of magazine articles and short stories. The majority of his books are geared toward the teenage audience. He is 79 years old and born in Minneapolis, Minnesota. He graduated from the University of Colorado, Boulder. The story begins with a 13-year-old boy having to fly to Canada to visit his dad due to his parents' separation. As the book begins, quote, Brian Robinson stared out the window of the small plane at the endless green northern wilderness below. It was a small plane, a Cessna 406, a bush plane, and the engine was so loud, so roaring and consuming and loud that it ruined any chance for conversation, unquote. The pilot had showed Brian how to control the plane shortly before he passed away due to health conditions. Brian decided to crash the plane before it ran out of fuel. He crashed into a lake and the plane sank. After escaping from the crash, he crossed the shore armed with only a hatchet that his mother had given him and a tattered windbreaker. Brian had to learn to survive alone in the Canadian wilderness. Brian had to face many challenges, such as struggling to find food, shelter, and other necessities. At first it was hard. He had to live off wild berries that he called gut cherries because he ate too many too fast and they didn't settle well on his stomach. Later he found some raspberries which settled better. He had built a shelter of sticks and branches which he was able to cut by using his hatchet. After a few nights of only the berries to eat, he heard a stirring sound outside his shelter one night. The next morning, he found out there was a turtle laying and burying eggs. Since he had liked eggs before the plane crash and in his previous life, he decided to try the turtle eggs. He ate them raw since he had no way of cooking. He just poked a hole in the end of the rubbery shell and sucked out the contents. Later on, while bathing in the lake, he realized there were some fish in the lake. So he tried to catch them by hand, which was unsuccessful. When that didn't work, he made a spear from a sharpened stick. That too was unsuccessful. Then, later, he crafted a net by using his tattered windbreaker to contain the fish within a small area, making them easy to spear. I found this book to be very interesting and somewhat educational. I highly recommend it for you to read the book to learn more about Brian's survival techniques and his encounters in nature.